you know, you gotta do a content warning because we are going to get a little bit vulgar and a little bit, you know, on the blue side, under the table kind of thing. So.
The vulgar, the better.
Yes, please.
Oh, yeah.
Swear every second word.
Yes.
Swear every word. I don't care.
Right.
As long as it's free.
This is the content warning for the show. Before we begin, there's something you might like to know. The following content adult themes and charm language, so fuck, 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 fuck.
There, the door finally closed. What can I say?
All right. So this is Two Fat Geeks, and I think you can probably tell why, because we're both slim as fuck, right? Right? Awesome.
Fucking cut.
Yeah,
Trust me, I'm in the pub all after that cut.
I was there. He's not lying.
Just a handful of us know who this guy is, so I want to start by reading his biography a little bit here. So
He wrote it, so you should get it right.
Hope so.
Fat Apollo, Michael McCluskey, is a mixture of all things geeky and nerdy rolled up to a crunchy comedic show. Donnie Everlast boxing glove, as well as cape and shirt made of vintage Battlestar Galactica. This is fucking boring, man. Did you write this?
Yes, I did. Let's just sit down and talk.
Let's just say you're cool man in PJs and leave it at
What
that.
the fuck?
So let's start off with, because like I said, you know, not many people know
No.
about Fat Apollo. I mean, this is horrible. But, so let's talk a little bit about Fat Apollo.
Right.
For starters. The fuck?
What the fuck indeed.
Right?
It was funny because what happened was about 3 years ago, I was literally sitting in my office and I'm talking, I'm a senior manager of something that I won't talk about. And I was sitting with a bunch of my staff members and I said, you know what? I'm just going to become a celebrity. I said, fuck it. I'm just going to become a celebrity. And they're like, how the hell are you going to become a celebrity? And I said, well, I don't know, I'll figure something out. So what happened was, I'm a huge Battlestar Galactica fan. Like, really? So anyway, so I had these sheets. And so what I did was, I found this place that would make a really rocking friggin' dress shirt out of Battlestar Galactica sheets. So I made a dress shirt. I mean, look at that stitching. If you want to see an invisible pocket, look at that. Man, you know, those 12-year-olds in Taiwan can sew that nobody's so I got the shirt made. And then I had the cape made in Dartmouth, Nova Scotia, dark side, thank you very much.
Did they take the stain out of the sheets for you?
No, they were No, your mom bleached them before I got them. So anyway, so what happened was, I got these sheets made, and I mean, take this as a parable, and now realize that 50% of this is me telling you a story, and 50% of this is me being incredibly egotistical. Okay, so please.
And it's 100% bullshit?
And 100% bullshit.
Yeah, 100. No, it's never bullshit. Listen, I was in the Navy for 16 years, and I stayed in the military just to tell stories. And I've told these bizarre stories, and then I've been out drinking, and we meet another guy from the forces. And people have met him and said, is it true that X happened? And they're like, and they recite the story. So I'll tell you one thing. The stories are bizarre, but they're all true. Because the moment I tell you a fake story, you won't listen to any of the rest of my stories. So they're all true, 100% true. Be in a stretch, but they're all 100% true. So what happened was, I got these things made, and at the same time, there was a comedy troupe forming in Halifax called Geeks vs. Nerds. And what it is, it's a show where, I encourage you to start your own, where you have a group of geeks and a group of nerds arguing a point. So if you've ever been on CBC or you've been in your car with your parents and your parents won't turn the channel and they've been listening to the debaters, it's the same sort of thing. So it's something like what we do, like they'll have something like, oatmeal or porridge, which one should you eat for breakfast?
Neither, goddammit, bacon. Like,
Exactly.
Nutella, goddammit.
So we do something like
Bacon-coated
Scrooge
Nutella.
McDuck or Monty Burns, who'd be better in the sack. So we do things like that. Right? So what we do is we have a group of 3 and 3, and we argue, and then the crowd decides who wins. So I get involved with this at the very early point. So I said, well, fuck it, I'm going to become a local celebrity. So the key to anything, and I give you this for anyone who wants to do self-promotion, which, as everyone says to me, you are the king of self-promotion, or queen of self-promotion. If you can get it quoted in the paper, then it becomes true. So what I did was I made sure that every time I spoke to newspapers or online blogs or anything, I put certain words in. So what I did was I kept talking about myself as Fat Apollo local celebrity. So the moment that the local alt paper put Fat Apollo, comma, local celebrity, I was able to quote them. So what you do is if you plant things in the media, you are then able to use those quotes and move forward saying, I'm not the one saying it. It's the newspaper saying it.
Those
So it
damn
helps
idiots.
those morons.
And if it's in the newspaper, it's got to be true.
Those friggin' morons.
Yeah, the door has to close.
So in the last 3 years, in Halifax, of all places, we've been able to close the door.
Hey, Christian.
What are you doing? No, you come in and close the door. So in the last 3 years, I've managed to have myself voted sexiest person in Halifax.
Which I still don't fucking.
I don't understand.
So the
Wait,
city.
no, hang on. I was going to a PowerPoint.
Oh,
but
all right,
I couldn't
fire
get
it
it
up, fire it
done.
up.
I couldn't get it
So-
done. So
It's an internet poll. Of course you
I
won
get
it.
it done.
Why are you gonna do an interpret?
No, I'm gonna.
Yes, I'm.
That's his pose. I'm going with pose.
Yes, I'm in tights and I'm Cupid. And the thing is,
Hello, Nalini.
For the last 6.5 years, or 6 years, Ellen Page has been, we all agree, is the most doable person in Halifax. And I displaced her and became the sexiest person in Halifax. And we were voted second funniest comedy show. And and the funny thing is, anytime you get press, you can use press to get more press. And that's the key. It's like the princess and the pea. The moment that she's peed in the... No, she didn't pee. The moment the pea... Am I thinking of that video with R. Kelly?
Yeah, you are.
Princess and the pea. It's a little pea under all the
the moment the
mattresses.
pee is in...
The mattress?
Just the fuck, I can't forget the pee. Now my mind's like in total like German sex. Yeah, shit. Listen, if you think Japan has bad porn, watch German
Oh
porn.
my God. That
Holy
sounds
shit. So should we go on to something else?
Yeah, because you've talked long enough. God, Jesus, fuck.
Oh, sorry.
2 fat geeks my ass. It's just you.
I am the size of 2 fat geeks. Shit. Are you gonna make it a body issue thing? Is that what it's gonna become?
Oh, just a
Oh,
little bit.
now it's a penis thing. What's with that? Yeah.
I'm sorry. Ever since the lovely glow stick cock ring, I'm sorry.
Oh, the
It's
glow
always-
stick hot. We have a history. Yeah, the glow stick cock ring was pretty fun.
I have the video, by the way,
And in
here.
the back of the room, there's a question.
What fetish groups have you been targeting to be voted sexiest man in
Well,
Halifax?
Alright, let's go through them. Alright. Okay, chubby chasers,
yeah.
bears, preteen sheets, ill-fitting khakis, bad boot shoes. I don't think there's many others than that. Tiny, large. Is that a concept?
Sure, yeah. So, we were talking last night on the way down about a little bit about family. And the one that really caught my attention was the time that your father almost started a fucking international incident with Russia.
Yeah, that's a true story. What happened was I live, as you have heard me say many times, I live in Halifax.
Yes.
And in Halifax, there's a part of the city that's called Dartmouth, Dark Side, shoot 'em upville. And in Dartmouth, there is a major military base called Shearwater. And when anybody flies into Nova Scotia, they go to Shearwater. It's like Gander. That's a good equivalent, except Gander's much nicer. So what happened was...
You sure?
Yeah, well, listen, you haven't been to Dartmouth. During the G7... What?
I have to agree with Steve, yeah.
What are you doing? You're like, got your bra open.
No, I was looking for more halls.
Strange place to keep your halls.
Oh, damn it, that's where I keep everything. Look at these. I could put full.
You're barking up the wrong
That's the
tree if you
woman's
want me to look at
pocket.
those. I enjoy the form, but I'm not a
Oh yeah, no, I know.
So anyway, so listen.
Yeah.
So what happened? Is it 2 big sets of boobs, or is it 2 fat
Get back to Russia.
So what happens is...
Russia?
I thought it was the same thing.
Interesting story. What happens is is it's the G7 conference, the first one ever held in Canada, in Halifax, Nova Scotia. So what happens is Chrétien, we all remember, you know, Shawinigan handshake Chrétien. What happens is he decides that he's going to be the first G7 ruler to invite Russia to ever come to the G7 conferences. Remember the economic conferences. So what happens is they ask Russia to come to G7. And then after that G7, it became the G8. Oh my God, this is boring. So anyway, so what happened was, this is the backdrop. It's like The Economist. Am I stuck in like first class of, you know, Air Britain or something? So what happens is, this plane comes in, and it's like Air Force One, or, you know, for Russia, it would be like Vodka One comes in. And my dad, so what happens is, because of the protocol, when you meet a foreign ruler that comes into the city, it's always mayor, prime minister, premier, cabinet ministers, military, okay? I grew up in friggin' political world, so I know the protocol. So my mom is the mayor of the city at that time. My mom is the mayor of the city. So there's my mom. My mom's a dynamo when it comes to friggin' politics. She's still in city council, and she's almost 80 years old. She's unbelievable. Yeah. Oh, she's great as a mom. No, she's wonderful. Anyway, so what happens is, there's my mom and there's my dad. And my dad joined the military when he was 15 years old, went through World War II on the Corvette, hardcore. He's in the Hall of Fame of Canada for boxing. He's a boxing trainer. He trained boxers who fought Muhammad Ali. He's very, very famous in the boxing world.
So are you.
And then we kept going. So later, so I show you. So, my dad.
You don't have the right parts for her.
My dad was not suited. He was a small guy too. So my dad was not suited to be in the political world in any way, shape, or form. Because when my dad had his 70th birthday, we had a roast for him with all these boxers and everything. And every story from every person who stuck during this roast, it was televised locally, was every guy would stand up and say something like, so we were in the Cathedral of Montreal. We were in an airport in South Africa. We were in Boston. And every story ended with, and then we beat the shit out of them. Every story ended was with my dad and his cohorts in some big fucking Donnybrook. Anywhere you could imagine. So here's my dad, in line in an ill-fitting, scratchy wool suit, waiting to meet Gorbachev. Not Gorbachev, sorry, Yeltsin. So, in comes Vodka One. Dad's standing there, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting, and what it is Yeltsin is drunk.
Oh, God.
He's drunk, and if you read any of his things, he's always drunk, right? So Dad's standing there, Dad's thinking to himself, you know, what the fuck is this? Why am I standing? A, why am I standing here? B, why is this plane nobody coming out? C, is this like Red Dawn? Wait a minute, what's this? You know, D, does this guy over here look like Patrick Swayze? Right? So anyway, so what happens is the door opens and down comes Yeltsin. And he comes down the jetway, as they're called. The stairs are called jetways. And he comes down and he's tanked. And behind him comes his whole entourage. Right? So he comes down, gets to the bottom of the stairs, the security swarms in front of him, and then it's Yeltsin and his wife, who is a wonderful woman from everything I've ever heard. So Yeltsin gets to my mom and goes, you know, and he is tanked. And he only knows about 3 words in Russian. He was like, or Krachnidim, probably only knows 3 words in Russian.
That's how drunk he was.
Refill my drink. Refill drink. So anyway, so he gets to the front and he says to my mom, you know, hello. And mom's like, hello, welcome to Dartmouth, blah, blah. He doesn't give a rip about anything my mom is saying, right? So then he moves on to my dad. And as Yeltsin's coming down the jetway, Dad told me later, he's looking up, and Dad's an old, you know, maritime. And Dad looks at him and says, that guy's all rummed up. That guy's all rummed up. He knew he was all drunk, right? So he comes down the jetway. And as he goes past my mom, he goes, Dad thinks he's going to be funny. So I need your help with this. So here's Yeltsin right here, as you can tell, right?
You've put on a bit of weight, sir.
Yes. Not nearly as drunk. So Yeltsin, nearly, I said. Yeltsin goes to reach to give the friendly handshake. So my dad, so reach slow-mo, it's got to be slow-mo, reaches for my dad's hand, and my dad goes, and gives him one right to the gut.
Oh.
Not a word of a lie. He gives Yeltsin a shot to the stomach. Not a hard one, but enough like I'm screwing around like this, right? So anyway, yeah, I don't enjoy doing that actually. You're like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Oh!
You're popping fresh right there. So anyway, so what happens is, Dad gives him one, and Yeltsin jumps back, and Yeltsin's tanked, and he thinks it's hilarious. And Yeltsin goes, ha 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 ha, and he puts his fists up. And Dad puts his fists up. And this is not a word of a lie. And they're like, whoa, whoa, and Yeltsin's like, whoa, whoa, and he's throwing these little funny punches at Dad. And Dad, like, knew everything about boxing on earth. So Yeltsin's like, whoa, and Dad's like, pop, 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 just popping his hands away, giving Yeltsin's little shots to the face like this, right? And meanwhile, the security team is moving forward. Yeltsin's wife is talking to my mom, and then they look, and the security team looks back, and here's the ruler of like 1/4 of the earth getting into a drunken fight with a local yokel. So anyway, and I said to Dad afterwards, I said, Dad, what the fuck were you thinking? He's all drunked up. I thought he'd find it funny. I said, Dad, did you see any like little red dots anywhere in your body from snipers? They're gonna be like, oh, what the fuck's a sniper? Anyway, so Mom was so mad at him.
Oh,
yeah, I wonder why.
Mad, yeah.
So one of the things again we talked about on the way down last night from the airport.
True story.
This was actually probably the most entertaining ride in a car I've ever had. Was the 20 minutes I spent with this guy from the airport last night. So that was one thing, but you've also had some really blind, fucking dumb luck, like stumbling into shit that you shouldn't be.
Yes,
into.
yeah, my first movie role.
Yeah, your first movie role. So you were in the Navy at the time.
Yes,
which,
I was.
That still boggles my mind that they put you in command of a
Senior
ship.
officer.
What the fuck?
I'm scared of
I'm so
yeah.
nervous.
That's kind of
I
scary.
can see people doing the YMCA on there, right?
Yeah.
We did more than the YMCA, trust me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Right now, I was lieutenant commander at 29, and I was really lucky that what I wanted to do was
I know the Navy
ended up
motto.
doing a lot of small ship work. And as part of doing small ships out of Victoria, British Columbia, you end up in Vancouver. So what happened was...
Everybody ends up in a movie in Vancouver.
Well, but this was in the early years when it wasn't that common to see a movie being filmed in Vancouver, British Columbia.
So it was porn.
Well, it was... Actually, you know what's funny? Is I got a grant from the Corn Institute of America to write a limerick. Feeling forlorn, eat some corn. Want to watch porn? Eat some corn. Yeah, I got made $35,000 for that. So anyway, so we brought our ship along the side of this little island called Deadman Island in Vancouver Harbor, which is the place where there is a naval reserve base. So we didn't have any idea. This was about 88, and so what we did was we filled a backpack full of beer, and I was captain, so I carried the beer, and I had these 3 or 4 engineers with me because the rest were reservists. And we just started into Vancouver, and we were going to a strip club. Oh, socially incorrect. We were going to a dinner theater. See a performance of Lady Get Your Gun. So he came in, and we're walking along the street, and we turn this corner in Vancouver, and all of a sudden, the street is, not all of a sudden, but it's us turning the corner, it's all yellow cabs from New York. And we're like, the fuck? What's with the yellow cabs? Like, we've never seen a movie being filmed before. So we just stopped on the corner, and the boys reached in the back and pulled out beers, and we just started standing on the corner drinking beers, and we were in the set drinking beers because we'd come up an alleyway. And we're standing there drinking beers, and this set director, as I learned what they were, came over the headset and said, "Hi guys, is this where your mark is?" And we're like, what the fuck's a mark? And they're like, "You're not supposed to be here. Can you please leave?" We're like, "Oh yeah, cool, we'll leave, we're sorry." And we're like, "Who's in the movie? What's the name of the movie?" And they said, "It's Daddy's Home." We're like, "Daddy's Home? Okay, whatever. Who's in it?" And they're like, "Christy Alley." We're like, "Christy Alley?" Because at the time, Christy Alley was a big name. We're like, "Fucking Christy Alley." "Yeah, Christy Alley. Who else is in the movie?" We're like, "John Travolta." Like, John Travolta! You know, and remember, this is the early 80s. And we're laughing, going, "John Travolta's in the movie?" And it turned out that Daddy's Home turned into Look Who's Talking. We all remember Look Who's Talking. So, like, "You have to leave the set, please." And we're like, "Okay, cool." leaving the set. And terrible security. We end up amongst all the star trailers where all the stars live. And we're walking through, and here's this trailer that says John Travolta. I'm like, it's John Travolta. So I go up the stairs.
Oh, Jesus.
I got a beard on. And I'm up at the door, and literally, it is the, I can't do it. You do the voice for you.
I don't know, man.
What?
You did the voice. It was like the John Travolta. I hear it.
What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hear it.
What? And I'm like, John, we
What?
got beer. We're going to see strippers.
Where?
Come on, come with us. And he's like,
Where?
no. He was very adamant that it was no. So about 30 seconds later, we were very quickly hustled off the set of the thing. But then, the next day, I'm making my way to a brunch place in Vancouver. And if you've seen the X-Files, you know there's a lot of alleyways. I was walking through all these alleyways, and I came up an alleyway, and all of a sudden I hear this. I'm just walking down, being Mr. Fat like I am, walking down the street, and all of a sudden I hear this, don't look left, don't look right, keep walking, keep walking, keep walking.
It was the bedsheet, throw him off.
If you watch, look who's talking, and it's on YouTube. You see me walking down the street like this when John Travolta pulls up to go and see when they do their first song with the baby. So that was my first major role.
30-second spot.
Not even
10-second spot.
No, I listen, like I tell everybody, it was 10 seconds.
You blink and you miss
That's
it.
as long as you lasted.
Yeah, it sounds like my honeymoon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Taya Leone, David Duchovny.
Yes.
That's an interesting one.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, I actually, during the filming of The X-Files, same place, Devon Island, it's a thing with the movie business that if you're doing a scene that involves sort of movement or something like that, you got to hire stuntmen or stunt people. But if you're doing something that is a type of industry that there are people that do, you don't have to pay the same rate. For example, if you're going to film a scene that involves firemen, you either pay for stuntmen or you pay for firemen. And firemen are cheaper than stuntmen. So what happened was, if you guys remember, there are people here that watch the X-Files, obviously, right? Remember the episode where everybody on an American destroyer ages all of a sudden? What happened was they filmed that in, obviously, Vancouver. They used HMCS Yukon, which was a decommissioned Canadian ship. And they had to have a whole ton of crew abandon ship to get away from the virus that's in the pipe. So they were thinking about stuntmen, and they said, who's better at abandoning ship? Hey, Canadian sailors. So what they did was, ouch, hey, I'm a sailor, I can make that joke. So anyway, so what they did was they went to Dead Man Island, where my buddy was the staff officer, and said, hey, are there some sailors that want to make a few extra bucks doing this scene? So they did this whole scene, and they saved a ton of money by using these people. So they said to my friend, who's the staff officer, they said, hey, you've been so good, how about we give you a close-up as an extra, but you'll be one of the old withered men sitting at the mess table. And so my buddy's like, Mike, you gotta get over here. We're filming the X-Files, and if you get over here, you can be in the X-Files. I'm like, shit. So I'm driving a ship at the time that's supposed to go to, I don't know where the fuck. I'm like, we're going to Vancouver, guys. So I take this ship and we drive to Vancouver.
Command decision.
We're supposed to go there. I'm like, we're going to Vancouver, heavy weather, bad waves, wind. So we end up in Vancouver. I'm like, fuck, I'm going to be on the X-Files. I'm so pumped. So my buddy's there, and I don't know anything about the movie or television business. And they're sitting there and they're putting this prosthetic on him. And I'm sitting there talking to him because I'm really excited, right? So it's this full-face prosthetic of an old man, right? So it's a mask. So they glue it to his face. And I'm, you know, like I said, at the time I wasn't thinking anything of it. They're putting it on his face. And then they cut the eye holes out. So what the fuck happens? But they go to cut the eye hole, they go, and they take his whole eyelid off.
Oh!
And I'm sitting there, and it goes, like not his eye or anything, blood, and I just go, and I'm like beside him going, and the makeup people are like, what the fuck? Like this, and he's like, because he can't, and the noise was literally like, because he can see through his eyelid now, right? There's no way to blink. Oh, blood is shooting everywhere, and I'm like, and we're all like, and I don't know what to do.
You keep that up, I'm still fucking back.
So anyway, so immediately it's like, ding, 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 you know, every paramedic on earth shows up, right? And they take him away, so shooting for the day is done. There's no shooting going on, because they just cut somebody's eyelid off. Right? So anyway, and I didn't know. I'm thinking, did they go right in? I don't have to get gross enough. You know what I'm saying?
Please don't get gross enough.
Yeah, I won't get gross enough. So then his testicles. So anyway, so what happened?
We don't have any, that's okay.
You don't.
Oh.
Wait, listen. Anyway, so this finishes, and so I have to sail out the next day. I'm like, fuckity fuck. I didn't get to film this scene, right? Because I have to relinquish command of the ship, not because of that, and I have to fly back to Victoria. So anyway, so they end up, and you go to when you go into his office, there are all these pictures of him because basically to make it up to him that they cut his eyelid off and had to sew it back on. There's all these shots of him with David Duchovny and you know, like all this memorabilia and stuff that basically they're not going to give him any money, but they're going to give him all this shit so that he wouldn't sue. So I have to fly out the next day. So when you fly between Vancouver and Victoria, you have two choices, and well, three choices. One's helicopter. One is commercial flights like Air Canada and Porter, which didn't exist at the time. But the other is seaplanes, and everybody in BC flies seaplanes. Little otters, little beaver planes, right? And they hold about between 6 and 15 people. So I get on this little otter plane to go over to Victoria, and who gets on the plane but David Duchovny and Tia Leone? And I'm like, shit, oh, this is cool. So we're sitting there, and I'm sitting on this side, and the two of them are there. And we get up, and you only fly at about 3,000 feet. So when you fly at 3,000 feet, there's a lot of like that. The flight is insane.
Okay, who'd you grow?
You're doing this all the time.
Who'd you grow?
Yeah, well, just wait to see.
He's getting to it.
So I'm serious. So I'm there, and we are flying. And I've flown a billion times, so I'm very used to it, right? So in we come, and we're flying along, and we're getting the heavy turbulence like this, right? And all of a sudden, I feel this hand on my knee, and it's David Duchovny, because we've done one of these. And he's like, lunch! And like that. I'm like, right up. I'm getting David Duchovny's hand. And what it was, is that was the weekend that they flew to Victoria, and David took Tia to this bed and breakfast and proposed. And that was the weekend they proposed to each other. We saw how successful that was.
Yeah, right.
Should have stuck with me.
You were bad. Who should have stuck with you, David?
Listen, I'm open.
So one of the things you're involved with right now is Geeks versus Nerds.
Yes.
And if you guys haven't heard Geeks versus Nerds, go on iTunes, download that shit because it is piss-pittingly funny.
We're into our fourth year. Fourth year of the show.
Fourth year, yeah, fourth year of the show.
We were featured. We were lucky enough to be a featured download of iTunes
yeah.
for a month, and we really got some serious play from it. It's a very funny show.
Yeah.
I personally think. I don't remember.
Oh God, no, it's hilarious. I actually just a couple of weeks ago, getting prepared for this, I mainlined it. Like I sat in my office at work. I was listening. No, I was sitting in my office one day, and I was there all by myself, so I just pump this fucking thing right to the veins and just listen to it.
It's a good show.
And it's hilarious. And just as you are getting on with fuck this and fuck you and cockballs, shit pissy, in walks the vice president of the university.
I do what I can.
Sucker.
So yeah, that was an eye-bulging experience.
I think the best one one of the funniest ones we ever did was we were doing the first Atlanti-CON, and it was Han Solo versus Malcolm Reynolds.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yeah.
Han Solo versus Malcolm Reynolds. So I was on the side of Han Solo, and I knew what was going to happen, but I had to pretend I didn't. So I was arguing Han Solo.
Oh, so that was prearranged?
It was prearranged.
Oh man, because it sounded like...
It was prearranged. Yeah. It had to be prearranged. So what happened was, I'm pretending, well, I'm not pretending. I'm a big fan of Han Solo versus Malcolm Reynolds. I think Han Solo's way better. So what happens? See, it's easy to get into this. So anyway, so this is what happens is I'm arguing Han Solo, and I'm going on and on about Han Solo, and most conveniently, there's a phone on the competitor's desk. So as I finish my little diatribe about Han Solo, the phone rings. And who is it but
Nathan Fillion.
Nathan Fillion calling from California to debate me. So if you listen to the show, it's me and Nathan Fillion debating about who's better, Han Solo or Malcolm Reynolds.
Gosh.
So there's no way, let me be blunt about this, there is no way you are going to win against Nathan Fillion
No.
calling in, because the guy is
It's Nathan
hilarious.
Fillion.
He was freaking hilarious. So anyway, so what I did was I said, it's time to pull up the big gun. So I said, you know what, Nathan? I said, you're a good man, but I said, your ship's still a piece of shit.
Oh!
And it was so funny because he goes, excuse me? And it wasn't because he was doing the dramatic thing. He didn't hear me. And I said, your ship? I said, that's right. He's a piece of shit. And shit. And shit. Shit.
It's a ship.
Your ship's a piece of shit. Thank you very much. It is small. So why are we getting back into the small thing? What are you all thinking of that?
Sorry.
So, but then,
No, wait,
so
I'm not.
Hey, that's your own preoccupation.
Oh, shut up. I'm just going to scoop this table. What was funny was, he just gave up this chuckle, and he was so funny, and this is, I've never met the guy personally, but,
Yet.
But he's made a win.
with him. He goes like this, he goes, and the Millennium Falcon isn't? Like that. It was so brilliant. And it was really fun to lose miserably to him.
You did. Oh, you put up a good fight.
Oh,
But it's Nathan Fillion.
Yeah, it wasn't just Nathan Fillion. Mal Reynolds over Han Solo, come on.
Oh,
Mal Reynolds kicked a guy into a fucking engine.
No, listen. Are we going to get into this?
I was about to say, are we about to have
Han Solo's had to be
recap?
big deal.
No. Let's
And
look at
kick.
the ships that they fly in, okay? The only thing you can do with the surroundings is eject cabin. You have no friggin' weapon. The Millennium Falcon's got double guns.
What?
Let's get into something else. Come on.
Kurt can kick the two of their arses.
Yeah!
Okay, well there's another one. There's the classic one right there. Why don't we talk about that a little bit?
What's that?
Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh no!
Let me tell you why.
You're asking-
I'm not gonna get into it, and I'll tell you why.
You're asking this to it.
Take Star Trek. Listen,
Wait a minute.
What universe do you want to live in? Do you want to live in the world of bylaw enforcement, which is Star Trek? Oh yeah, we've got someone who's moved a sign on a planet 1 foot too far. Bring their chips in. Or do you want Star Wars where it's like, fuck you, they're shooting guns, they're killing people. Star Trek is like an entire ship full of bureaucrats. That's what Star Trek is. It's a whole bunch. Darren.
Oh, Star Wars!
Come on.
They
Bring it.
Bring it. This woman got this kid, and then this stranger comes up, and she said, "Oh, here, take my kid, give him away." Now that's not a pedophile, right? She don't know this guy.
Oh yeah,
True.
true.
Like Anakin. Oh yeah, you can take him. Yep. All right.
See, the difference between Star Wars and Star Trek
Yes.
is free will versus determinism. See, Star Trek is determinism.
Oh, now we're getting to the
You have your role. You have your role. Think about this for a moment. Anybody who's ever been in the military,
Yes.
you've got
Yeah.
a ship.
How did you meet the height requirement?
You've got a ship of 500 people.
Yes.
You've got 499 officers and 1 chief. So think about that. You got 499 officers giving fucking orders, and 1 poor schmuck just drinking his face off. Listen, when I was in the forces, I was enlisted and I was an officer. And my form of hell would be a ship full of officers. The only reason I could stand being in the forces is that I was always the captain of the ship. That's the only reason. Anybody else give me orders? Fuck you. And that's what Star Wars is. Star Wars is a total fuck you to anyone who ever told you what to do. You know what you should do? I'm a guidance counselor. Now listen, Mr. Solo. What you want to do is really get your insurance license. Because you would be very good and try. Fuck you! I'm going to shoot you down.
Fuck you up! I'm going off the road.
And I got a big furry guy with no pants. And you know what? Believe me, 1 bedroom. Baby! And if the Falcon's a rocket, don't come a knocking.
You're talking about the good stuff.
Fuck Star Wars and Star Trek, Doctor Who.
Oh no.
No, put a big question mark on the end of that. That's what you want to make sure you say, Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Doctor Who.
Listen. I do
Down,
not
boy.
want last
Oh!
Don't drag me into this.
Okay, those fight.
name. No offense to a personable person who's sitting in the audience. I do not want to fly around in a telebox with a sexually repressed Brit man.
Oh!
Who says he's sexually repressed?
I can tell you he's sexually repressed because they go, "Where's the bedroom?" He goes, "I don't know." any good Brit I know goes, listen, any good Brit I know is, "I know where the bedroom is." And I know where the pub is too, come on.
He doesn't need the bedroom.
Why not?
Everywhere else is viable.
Everywhere else is viable.
That's true.
Yeah, that's right. And that box is alive. So think about that for a second. He's having sex with someone inside a box that's alive.
How meta can you get?
Creep.
That's
And
cool.
she's his wife.
I know!
Yeah.
Awesome!
Think about that. It's like the worst Florida state swingers. Think about that. Now I can never watch Doctor Who. And where's the pool?
It's in the library.
It's in the library.
Fuck, right?
Yes.
What is the purpose of the screwdriver?
What's? What, Doctor Who? I thought you meant. I thought you like took a hit to the head or something. How do I use screwdriver? Well, you take in your hand, Karen.
You take some vodka, you take some orange juice.
It's a phallic symbol. And what it is.
How is that? Never mind.
How's that a phallic symbol? He says.
Especially-
in his hand.
Especially when it does that.
Yeah, that's what she phallic symbol.
That's more like a cat's
Listen,
penis.
you haven't gone through a lot of Fredericks of Hollywood's catalogs if you don't know that's a phallic symbol. Next question, please.
Am I the only one that noticed it gets bigger?
What, Steve?
I'm not commenting on that anymore. What happened?
Next topic.
I'm not commenting on that. I'm enough of this that I don't want to get to this.
No comment.
Biggest badass. One of the funniest ones you guys did. Biggest badass. Boba Fett or Batman?
Oh, fuck. Boba Fett. Yeah. Is there anyone here? No, right now. We'll do it live. Is there anyone here that thinks that Batman is better than Boba Fett?
Way cooler.
Batman?
Way cooler.
Young man, stand up. Come on.
Oh,
Let's
no.
do this. Come on, young man. What's your name? I'm sorry. I should call you young man. Nicholas? Hey, Nicholas. My name is Mike. Nice to meet you. You doing anything with it? Okay, cool. All right, so...
Neither does he, so.
All right, so you tell me why you think that Batman is tougher.
Because he has no superpowers. He has all these sick gadgets that he just whoops so much ass with.
Okay, no, we want to know about Batman, not Boba Fett.
No, he's... Oh, you shut up. You're just filming. Like I said on my honeymoon, you shut up. You're just filming. Do I play what? No, I've heard of it. Yes, it's very good.
Oh my god, that game is awesome.
Why is
No.
Batman better? Tell me, why? He's got lots of weapons.
Okay, Boba Fett will kick his ass because he's
Batman.
elite, but Batman is just, I don't know, it's just too much, man.
Now, why? Why do you feel so strongly about Batman? How does he appeal to you?
Because he's Batman.
Batman, I'm gonna be the topic of this.
Now, let me tell you why Boba Fett's better. All right, let me tell you why. And it's wonderful that you feel that way. I really feel good about that. What it is this. Think about this. Boba Fett's a little clone, and he's sitting there, and he's up in that stage, and his father's head gets the cut right off, right? And instead of, like, for example, Batman, when his parents died, first of all, he did that scene in the comic, I can't go to the movies again, right? And then he runs away, and he goes and gets trained for what, how many years? 16, 18 years with RuPaul. All right. So anyway, but then, what does Boba Fett do? Boba Fett goes down to the auditorium floor where his father's head has been cut off. He pulls his father's bloody, warm head out of the helmet and puts it on his own head, and then flies away in his own ride.
Yeah, he's G, but...
That's because he's not sane.
Are we not? Now, listen, Batman is cool.
He's man...
Batman wouldn't get killed by a big space vagina in the space.
Oh! Hey, no.
Get up here.
No.
Tag him out.
Tag team.
So much of this big space vagina I've never heard of.
No, he didn't
die.
Oh, he didn't die. Have you not seen Robot Chicken 84? Canon in the Star Wars. Now think of Batman though. What happens to Batman? Hey, I'm gonna go get some milk. Fuck, there's your back. Oh, my back's better now. I'm gonna go get some cheese. fuck, your back's broken again. Nobody, I'm sorry anyone who hasn't seen the movie.
Batman beat Superman. Can Boba Fett beat Superman?
Oh, listen, Boba Fett beat Han Solo, who's a far harder ass. And
Superman?
then Superman.
No, not
Superman.
unless Boba Fett got a hold of some kryptonite.
What's Boba gonna do? He's gonna flamethrower him?
No, see, the whole...
I think Superman would stand there and
Now,
laugh
Superman gains his
hysterically.
power from what?
The sun.
The yellow sun.
True.
And Tatooine has a what color sun, everyone? A red sun.
You're
Which one?
Which
assuming
is the
that Superman
same
and Boba
color
Fett are
as
fighting on-
Krypton. Thanks for coming on.
Oh!
Actually, you're incorrect. Krypton is green.
3 suns.
Green.
Why are you assuming that they're fighting on
I'm
Tatooine?
colorblind and I
Why
know
can't they
it's
fight
green.
on Earth?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Your evil laugh needs work.
It does.
That
it's
wasn't
sad.
evil, that was my sexy laugh.
That was sad.
That was the laugh.
That explains-
That is the laugh that
Beat me
launched
to it.
1,000 orgasms.
Thought it was the laugh that closed 1,000 cab doors.
You got some chocolate for
Oh, should I tell the story about Needful Things first? Do we have time?
Yeah.
We have time? Okay, so it was funny. So I ended up in another movie. I ended up in Needful Things, which was the Stephen King's adaptation of the movie, the book Needful Things. Right? So what happened was, Needful Things. Does anybody remember the show Beachcombers?
Yes.
Remember Beachcombers? That's filmed in a place called Gibsons, British Columbia. Okay, so in that show, Gibsons.
I said fucking Gibson.
Fucking Gibsons. You really hate Gibsons. Right? So what it is it used to be year after year when we bring our ships in, the small ships, you'd end up in Gibsons, and there was Relic. Everybody remembers who Relic is. His host boat was there. So we made it a thing that when you became a captain of a new ship, you had to go piss on Relic's houseboat. So we would go down, you have to get through security and shit like this, and you go and piss on this part of Canadiana. So what happened was one day we were bringing our ships in, and I was a navigation trainer. So what I did was I trained officers how to drive ships and how to navigate. And we were coming in, and so I'd come into Gibson's 200 times. So once you're a navigator, you learn things that you could drive ships and know where points are without even hearing them. So you'd hear guys come in, and when you use a visual fix, which is a gyroscopic compass, you call out points like church steeple, end of jetty, breakwater, and you take a bearing of those points, and that's how you determine where you are on a compass or on a chart. So we were coming in, all of a sudden I hear one of the guys, he's like, okay, I'm taking a bearing of the end of the jetty, I'm taking a bearing of the breakwater, and a bearing of the church steeple. And I'm like, no, wait a sec, there's no church steeple in Gibsons, there's no church steeple. It's like, no, sir, it's church steeple. And I'm like, there's no church steeple in Gibsons Harbor. And he goes, look, sir, there it is. And I'm like, the fuck, there's a church steeple in Gibsons Harbor. I'm like, the fuck? So I'm thinking, is there something like some sort of revival? Is there some sort of cult that's set up? And I'm like, oh, okay, use it. And he uses it, and of course the 3-point fix is fucked because there's no church steeple. So we come in, and we're coming in, and now the captain, because it was on a larger ship, is looking at me saying, hey, McCluskey, hey, I thought you knew your navigation. What's with the church steeple? I'm like, sir, and I'm doing all my background stuff now where I'm shooting up the church steeple to determine its position. I'm saying, there's no church steeple, sir. Now it's become a matter of pride, right? That there's no church steeple. So we come pulling in, and there's a place, Maltese Reach, which was there, and there's a place called the Mother's Pub. But what the fuck are we going to do tonight? There's no pub. But what it turns out that we were steaming into the middle of a movie set. And Castle Rock is used by Stephen King all the time. In Needful Things, Castle Rock's fishery is a Needful Thing. So we pull in with these 5, about 100 and 150-footer minesweepers into this jetty, which is right in the middle. Oh no, gotta leave. We're like, no, we're not leaving. This is where we belong. So they're like, well, you got to turn your generators off because you're going to ruin the shot. And you can't turn your generators off on a ship or what's called the gyroscopic compass toggles. So you need to have power to your ships all the time. So anyway, so the producers come down. Now they're all really angry because they're like, you're going to blow this nighttime shot we were going to do. And so they're like, how much do we got to pay you? How much to go away? And we're all standing there going, no, you can't pay us to go away. So we ended up running the cables from their generators down to us. So we ended up in the shot of Needful Things. So if you watch Needful Things, sort of this misbalance of these young guys with short haircuts walking the streets of this Maine town, because it's a whole bunch of sailors. So Maximilian Schnell turned out to be an amazingly nice guy, and Ed Harris and all this stuff. We steamed away, everything's great, so we finish. We come back about 28 days later, we end up, and we're back, and the church steeple was built by them. We pull in the night of their giant climactic blowing up the town shot, and here we are again, and they're like, no fucking way. We might just fucking go away. Right? And it's like, we can't, we gotta come alongside. They're like, oh, you fuckers. And so they had to switch all their shots around. And it was so funny though, because Maximilian Schnell, who I didn't personally speak to, the crew, the younger crew had been, like, he was really nice to them. When we pulled up, he was still wearing one of the ship's caps, HMCS Cowichan. He was still wearing the ship's cap, which was just kind of cool. So.
That's awesome.
He's a good guy.
Man, seriously, you have the dumbest fucking luck I've ever seen.
I know.
I'm just going to trip over myself and I'm in a movie.
Hello, everyone. Hey.
We got some shit there to give away.
Yes, we do. So, when I told you that I'm a big believer in self-promotion, and if you don't self-promote, and you have to be ready for it, and this is the thing, is that you have to be ready for people to say, will you just shut the fuck up, all right? And I've done that, and like I said, in the last 3 years, and again, this is ego talking, sexiest person in Halifax, second, I think this is hilarious, second funniest comedy night in Halifax, which I think is funnier than funniest comedy night, because I was interviewed about it, and I said, well, I'm kind of like the drunk style of comedy. Like, if you can't get to the good show, I'm going to deliver.
When?
At least there. So, but what you have to do is, if you have a belief in something, you got to push, okay? There's going to be tons of people saying, you know what, you're making a fool of yourself. Or I got friends with bands and stuff that they're good bands, but they won't push. And I say to them, well, why don't you just go start fucking playing? Like, seriously, just say it. We're going to play on the Dartmouth Ferry today. Oh, Mike, we look stupid. Wouldn't that be... I'm like, yeah. If you keep saying you're going to look stupid, or if you're going to look, no one's going to listen to you, no one's going to listen to you. And I also ended up with, ta-da, the Halifax chocolate bar, named after myself. You see this wonderful picture of myself right there. And this is
character accurate too, eh?
It is. The big fat guy with a pair of boxing. I didn't wear my boxing gloves. It's funny because what I do is, before I do my show in Halifax, I do the Geeks vs. Nerd show. I have a superstitious pattern I have to repeat, right? So I masturbate 8 times.
Only 8?
7. Unless it's German porn. And then, what I do
Then it's
is
9.
I go and I eat at
It's
certain
9.
places, and I drink, I will have a drink at 4 different places, because I know all the people. What I do is I wander the city dressed like this. And by being like this, people are literally like, oh fuck, it's a Fat Apollo show tonight. Like this, and it was so funny because the last show I did was, like I told you, Scrooge McDuck versus Bonnie Burns. And I was wandering this city, drinking and eating like I do. And this guy tweeted this picture of me from the city bus saying, hey, look at this fool. The only thing that he's protecting with that cape is his virginity. And it was hilarious, which I don't, shit, you can say anything to me. But what's so funny was the backlash from the Twitter community was like, oh, fuck, no, that's Fat Apollo, man. You don't know who Fat... No, you think it's protecting his virginity? You've never been to one of his shows like this. So all these people just piled on him about, oh, no, he's not a geek. He's drunk and he's looking for sex.
This is your hunting
gear. Yes, my hunting gear, baby. It was so funny because he was a comedian. It turned out he was a comedian visiting from Ottawa. And he thought that was really funny. And so I tweeted him back and said, yeah, I'm the guy in the cape. We're actually friends now. But he's like, fuck. He goes, you got balls to walk around dressed like that. So, what I'll do is at the end of my little rant, I walk up Spring Garden Road, which is like the main street in Halifax. And it's funny, over the years now, 4 years, I'll walk up the street and all I hear, Fat Apollo. So it's actually kind of cool. So the whole reason for me talking about how awesome I am is to just say, no, but seriously, like if you want to do something, don't let people say you're stupid, or don't let people say you look stupid, or don't let people say, you're not good enough to do it. Like seriously. Like just do it. And you know what? People are going to make fun of you. If you're like the best whatever on earth, think of the best whatever. There are people that still go on Facebook and say, he's a fuck. Or she doesn't know what the fuck she's doing. Or she's ugly.
Well, fuck it. Go big or go home.
Lady Gaga's got to lose weight. What? She wears a dress made out of fucking meat. And you're saying that her hips are big? Well, it's probably a couple layers of ribs hanging on the side. But seriously, seriously, just you know what? Life's too short. Just do what the fuck you want.
Don't let anybody push you back.
That's right. Exactly. So let's get some shit out.
Give it up.
All right. So Fat Apollo chocolate bar. Let me see. Let's take the trivia question.
Trivia's
You know,
later.
I'm gonna give you one. Just being gutsy enough.
Yeah.
You were gutsy enough to come up. You get Fat Apollo chocolate bar. And you were gutsy enough to put your hand up and say, "Give me a fucking chocolate bar." Most of my dates don't do that.
Hell, most of them don't get cab fare.
You want to know? I'll tell you about the chocolate bar. It's milk chocolate with potato chip, which I thought sucked. But it's a premium chocolate bar made by a company in Halifax called Sugar, which is right down the waterfront, and it's an awesome chocolate bar. And when I sell them, proceeds go to the early intervention for childhood disablement, which is basically autism. So it's great. So
I have autism.
do you really? All right. Well, you get a prize too then. You get. Now this, maybe I shouldn't give this to you. Because you know why? Because no, I just, you know, I'm feeling a little bad about it. This is the sexy boxing. No, I want you to make sure you go home with this.
I will go home with it.
All right, this is the sexy Fat Apollo boxing porcelain ornament. So congratulations to you. So okay, all right, here's another. Now here's another chocolate bar. Now this one you're going to have to help me with. Okay?
Oh, Jesus.
All right, so.
Oh no.
Okay, get ready. Now you got to put your hand up. And he's going to determine who puts their hand up first. Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Right there.
Okay, all right.
Winner!
The winner is you. Okay, so here we go. Get ready for this. All right, this is going to be a tough one. What year? Yeah,
Question.
wait. What year was I born in?
I suck at
Darren?
1967.
Wrong.
Shit.
Anyone else? Come on, just guess. It's a guessing game. Yes, ma'am.
70 or 69.
Nope. 69.
He likes you. 75.
Oh, I wish.
63.
No.
74.
Nope. Back there? Nope.
63.
Nope. You already said 63. Back there?
71.
Nope.
58.
Fuck.
Kicking the nuts with the camera guy.
There you go. 65's wrong. Back there?
70.
Wrong.
57.
Wrong.
77.
Yes.
Shit, I'm not wearing like sandals with socks. 68, wrong.
77.
Wrong.
What?
I'll make him younger than me.
Yeah.
62.
Wrong.
71.
Wrong. 71, wrong. Thank you.
70.
No. I'll give you a hint. You add the last two numbers together and you get 10. Wrong go. Fuck!
64.
Who said 64? 1964. So the final one. Now the final prize I'm giving out because I wanted to span the continents. I'm about to give our very special guest, Christian, sitting there.
What?
I want him to be able to walk the streets of Los Angeles
Oh my God, would you do that?
and London
Oh, you totally need to do that.
carrying
Oh my God. Oh my God.
a
Do it.
Fat Apollo.
Trash bags.
Oh man.
I was going to say sex bag. A Fat Apollo recyclable shopping cart. Congratulations, sir. So, anyway, I think that's about it. Is about it.
That's about it. Yeah, we're going to wrap up, guys. Thank you very much for coming out.
I remember the dance tonight.
Dance tonight, brought me in.